Hello, everybody. This is the ninth webinar of SerpAsk series, and we're very excited here with our next special guest called Milosz Krasinski. I'm Dido Grigorov with almost 16 years in SEO. I'm head of SEO at SerpAsk, and my main focus are the content strategies, the semantic optimization, and the technical SEO. Let's say some words about our special guest. He is an international SEO consultant, speaker, and blogger. Throughout his career, Milosz has been constantly devising growth tactics for small and startup businesses, particularly within financial services. Wow! His focus areas include link building, tactical SEO, and overall digital strategies. Prior to the acquisition of Chili Fruit Web Consulting, Milosz has been involved in growing Plus Guidance, an early stage UK tech startup now acquired, and Sigma Digital Marketing Agency based in Oxfordshire. Find out more on his blog miloszkrasinski.com. But now let's say hello, Milosz. You're welcome.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks first of all, thank you so much for inviting me. Webinars are. I do webinars for SEMrush, but I run them. So it's very different for me to be at the webinar, and so it's still kind of new way for me to promote myself and add the value for other people and talk about SEO and speak with the people. So I'm excited, and let's see what I can add. Let's see what we can all learn today.
Okay, before going to our main topic, the website promotion tactics in 2019. Let's first talk a little bit about you, but not in that introducing way. But let's start with how did you start with SEO, and what do you love mostly about SEO?
Okay, so first of all, it started like long time ago, right? And I was a DJ. I'm actually, I graduated sound engineering, so I'm a sound engineer. You can't really study SEO, right? Can you? You cannot. So we all from different paths, and so I just wanted to be a DJ. I wanted to make, this kind of like Armin Tiesto tracks and so on and so on. So I didn't really need to be a sound engineer. I was just told, if you really want to do this or that, maybe you want to study and so on. But I've actually made it even more difficult for myself, because if you really want to be a DJ, you just do it, right? And that's it, like Nike. So I just started doing my podcast, but like a DJ podcast, right? It was one way of promoting myself. It was back, I guess, in 2009. And Facebook, yeah, it was a long time ago. And I find out that Facebook, you remember, Facebook was still growing.
You mean the first versions of Facebook?
Yes, I was promoting myself via Facebook only via groups and just that, and it did work. And suddenly one guy from radio, like they have radio stuff, and they were publishing a lot of DJ mixes. They just gave me opportunity and say, hey, do you want to record some stuff? And that's how I started. So I started from social media and promoting myself that way. And here is the funny thing. When I got into a record label, I became a proper sound engineer.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was mastering all the old records like Frank Sinatra and stuff like that.
Wow.
And here's the funny questions. This is like a proper one. So the guy who actually was the owner of this small record label, he did ask me, can you do something, this Google Analytics? I don't even know, but I mean, you're an engineer, so you're supposed to know even how to install. They thought you've got a brain. So I just looked at it, and I'm thinking this is so easy, copy and paste, JavaScript into WordPress, and I'm thinking you can make so much money out of this, doing this kind of services, web design, and so on and so on. That's how I got into that, and I was thinking this is way much better than looking at the waves. When you do the sound engineering, you just look at the waves and then you're just removing the noise from old records. It was so boring, and I just find out that website, SEO, and even hosting, all this technology was much better, much more interesting than sound engineering. So that's how I got into that. So the story of my life.
Yeah, very interesting. And what do you love about SEO mostly? What's your
one word? I'll tell you one word: unpredictability.
Unpredictability.
because
Whoa.
you don't know what's going to happen in next month with your ranking. Like you cannot promise anything. You can read the data, right? You can look at the backlogs and stuff like that. You can look at the Google Analytics. You can see the trends and everything. And sometimes you think you understand everything, but one day just one algorithm and everything is changing. Like I just realized, you cannot predict it. And it's just funny,
Yeah. Do you have any examples in your career when something changed overnight?
Yeah, quite recently. I mean, there was literally one algorithm. I think the medic one, and I was hit by that algorithm. No matter, like, I didn't know why. My website is quite fresh, new everything. I don't have any spammy links, or even people didn't try to spam me or anything like that. So it's completely clear. And it just suddenly all the rankings gone, and there was this quite recent one. So after 2 months later, everything just gone back, just like that. And I didn't even add much content to it. I didn't even do. I haven't even done, the internal linkings. I didn't even pay attention to internal linkings, which is funny. I did an experiment. Like, I'm trying to have as much content as possible, and then I will do internal linking after some time and see what will happen. So.
Or maybe you have been just a part of the experiments of Google, and everything got back after that.
It's just that's what people say. It's just been unlucky sometimes.
Yeah. Okay, let's go straight to our main topic today: the website promotion in 2019. And let's start talking about the promotion first. What do you think is a website promotion today, actually? Let's say that way, that sometimes people understand it very differently. What is your opinion? How would you define website promotion today?
Okay, so we've got like various channels, right? Social media channels, paid channels, guest posts, backlinks, referring traffic, right? Stuff like that, news. Email marketing works still best, like you have to build your list. So don't neglect that. I mean, some people are saying that, that doesn't work. You have to build your list, and it works. And I can tell you that I've done quite recently. Let me tell you some examples, maybe.
Yeah.
When it comes to promotions, sometimes you see that traffic comes there very directly from specific websites. So you think like, okay, you're using SerpAsk, or you're using SEMrush or any other tools, and you're trying to see what kind of traffic they have. Do they have direct, or do they have organic? If they have direct, you're thinking, they don't. It's not much organic, so why should I start even bother about them? But you don't know whether or not they have a strong marketing list, because they may have 10,000. I just got quite recently, I've just become a contributor to one very specific website, and they're very happy about that. And every month I get so much hits just because of that, because they're promoting, and they have 10K plus email marketing list. So when they do blast, your guest post is actually being promoted directly, because people are actually reading it. So it's something that you have to remember, that when you partner, when you guest posting, or when you partner up with someone else, make sure they have, that kind of stuff. They have this kind of asset. Like Craig's got one of the biggest UK lists, right? So when it comes to SEO, so he can promote easily, nice softwares, people, and deals, and for example, good guest posts, right? So that's what I've realized is very important. So it's not just about, how much traffic do you get through the organic, but how much traffic do you get from your partner, like from, through his email marketing list. So that would be something to look into that. And yeah, I mean, so that would be my takeaway for this question. So if we go further, I mean, I can answer more questions and more questions. So yeah, so let's stop this one first, and let's go to another.
Okay, let's go to the next question, actually, and it is, why do you think the promotion is important? Let me tell you why I'm asking you this question. Because a lot of people were thinking about they're thinking in the following way: I can make some content, I can make my website technically perfect, why I have to continue with promotion. Actually, if my content is well optimized, maybe people will find me very easy. What do you think about this? Why can you summarize some important reasons why the promotion is so important?
Okay, so before even you start talking about the promotion, like
Mm-hmm.
before even you start, I'm quite serious right now. You know, the brand 24 is quite good example. When I spoke with Mike Sadowski, when they started, brand 24 is a social listening tool, and they've just realized that after 3 years,
3 years.
after 3 years, what was the issue? Was the issue on the sign-up form. The sign-up form had a way too many fields. And from the UX point of view, you know that people are actually bouncing. People bouncing because they don't like it's you're forcing them to fill the form. Like it's
They feel kind of overwhelmed. Yes.
So you have to do your conversion rate. You have to do your UX first. Make it easy for people and find out all these like little problems called frictions. So once you've addressed the frictions like that way they did, they just realized that through the tools like the tool that you can see the sessions, Hotjar. So like Hotjar, and they've just realized that people bouncing off because what they've done, they're trying to promote the tool, there was one extra field where saying if you have promo codes, put it. If you have a promo code. So people were thinking they're trying to find the promo code on a website, Googling, and they couldn't find it. So they left. So they were bouncing off all the time, and they just realized after 3 years. So what they're saying is it's best to fix your UX, it's best to fix your frictions before even you start promoting, before you start spending money. And I think it's a quite valid idea because it's based on the data and it's a case study, so you cannot really neglect it. And I think depending what kind of service you have, but it's very important to first to get right your simplicity. So like in local websites, which is very interesting. Okay, we were talking about the tech startups, right? What about if you have a local website like Business Courier? So when you land on the website, you don't really have a time to read. All you do, you're probably on the mobile because we are on mobile today. What you do, you just only want to find out not the form because you don't have a time to fill the form. You just want to make a phone call. So that's the most important thing. So make it easy, and so remove all the frictions first, and then you start promoting. So I would start from this, and this is why it's so important. But people first promoting. You have to first promote because you need to have a traffic and data, and and based on that you can do some tweaks, right? If you don't have enough data, you can't do much about it. But
by the way, just a quick note: when you said about the business courier, we have a very big logistics company here, and they had a very big problem with their phones on mobile phones, and they redesigned completely their website. Now their conversion rate from what we see and the branded though and the engagement of the people publicly is way higher. So how we structure our forms and of course getting the data when we promote the website, this is really important. So thank you for this note.
Yep. So shall we go to the next question?
If you have something more to add, that will be also great. But
I mean, I could talk literally. So I mean, I just don't want to fall into the trap that I'm just talking all the time. So it's good when we just mix up with some questions. But just to close up, it's the most important thing is define your service. So if it's local courier, the most important thing is just ask yourself what the user really wants.
Okay. Can you share one or two more?
So if you are a local business, right? All you really want to help the user to make it easy to contact you. So make sure that on the top of your website is the actual number and it's clickable. When you land on the website via mobile, make sure it's clickable and there's no frictions because people, they're not going to do much bookings. They do bookings. People have different preferences. But if it's courier, like a 24 hours, and I need that like right now, it's international courier or maybe same day courier, for example, same day, it's very important. Straight away to the phone call. That's what I would say. And if it's If it's service, if it's like a startup, then most likely will be a lot of trials because you want to give them a demo. So filling the forms will be more important. So, remove the frictions. That's just 2 examples, before you start promotion.
Yeah, and I also have read over the web, especially on the social media, that sometimes people connect the website promotion with providing support. What do you think about this? This is especially related to the software as a service websites and the local services websites. What do you think? How the promotion helps the support? Do you think that people can find a little bit better support via website promotion?
Well, definitely, because I think there's like some quite recent studies. I think it's called 21 rule. I think you need to type in. I think either Brand24 or Callpage is one of the softwares. So what they do is, like once you land on a website, it's literally of seconds. So what it is, there is like a pop-up comes up, and it says, in 30 seconds we will contact you. So first of all, yeah, it's a very good idea. So you don't have to wait. Like, people are in rush these days. So live chat is very important. We can tell the live chat is very good, but chatbots and everything is very bit generic. Sometimes you just have a very specific questions, and you just want to speak with someone. And if you get that like pop up and it says to you, fill the form, or tell me your number, and we'll call you straight away. How would you feel? It's great. And it's the same thing. Let's say maybe we are busy, but when you send an email and, as you said, you got a ticket, it's really good because it's like a confirmation that, is being processed. So that they've actually received and they've let you know. So that's very important. So you don't have to wait and you don't have to wonder. We people, a lot of us these days, we're using the mail tracker, the tracking, whatever your mail has been opened. You don't have to do that anymore because that you've got a ticket ready and you've got a reply, and they say, we'll get back to you within 24 hours or maybe within 4 hours and stuff like that. And it's great. The sooner they will get back to you, it's better.
Okay. And let's get a little bit into retrospective perspective. How do you think the promotion has been changed compared to the previous years?
Okay, so I've made my notes here quite recently, and I just wanted to get this right. So what has changed? I remember. Just let me have a look because I've made some notes, and they were okay. I got it right here.
You have a very rich experience, so what has changed since the last 10 years.
Okay, so let's agree that what has changed is, let's take it for granted, it's mobile first.
Yes.
Okay.
Total. Yes.
Like, don't even question me about that. Okay, so let's stick to this. It's mobile first, everything. So when you design website, when you do the changes, when you crawl the website, crawl mobile.
And we even have specific networks just for mobile devices, for tablets, for mobile phones. So they are even not accessible on the desktop devices. This is really, really remarkable, I think. It's like the Apple Store, it's like the Play Store of Google. Yep. Both of them are not accessible on just, of course, a very simple example, but they are not accessible on desktop devices. But we can still put something there. We can still use their promotion platforms, even for our website, for our apps. Of course, if you have an app, otherwise we cannot just promote something, but we can use their network for promotion.
Yeah. For example, that's more like a growth hack, but yeah, definitely mobile first is going. Well, it is already. It's happening, and I would say even if it's mobile first, sometimes you get this. Let's say if the business has an app, it will redirect you to the app, so you can use it via app. And we can see that there is going to be more app user friendly. I mean, I'm not saying that you have to build an app because that depends on the business, But as long as it's mobile first, it's great, There's no frictions when you swipe the website via mobile, so that's very important, just to test it all the time, because you can't do this test, when you're on the desktop. So it's something that I think we fall into this trap, and then we SEO guys, we're reporting on that. So. That's very important. And the other three things I would add is is UX approach. So for example, if you scroll down too long and you read and it's too long, there's so much content, it's not the way we interact. So okay, you can have much different version on the desktop because it's much easier to digest very quickly and scroll down. Or if you're scrolling down and you're touching all the time and you're scrolling down till the end and there's no end, you're thinking, hang on, something is wrong with this website, it's too long. So, content on the desktop has to differ from what you have on the mobile. Let's say landing pages, they need to have less content, more it's about the call to action. So let's say you have one call to action, second call to action, third call to actions. But yeah, it's what I would say. And user is first. So for example, like if the user can find everything fast, let's say pricing, a lot of people are price sensitive. For example, when it comes to startups, let's say we're talking about local businesses and we can talk about, let's say, SaaS businesses. So SaaS businesses, let's say like your one, your software, right? So I'm sure that a lot of people, when you look at the Google Analytics, they're checking your pricing page. They want to know what is the, what kind of price you have, like this is the first segment, the third segment, the third, and so on and so on. So okay, the price is very important. This is why you see a lot of people bouncing off because maybe it's too much, or maybe it's not appealing, or maybe it's something wrong. Maybe it's the wrong audience. Maybe it's an enterprise level SaaS. So you're not attracting. So basically, you're attracting wrong audience. And what I would say, if you're, here's the fact, if you're B2C, what kind of B2C are you? Are you just, startups, or are you attracting enterprise level? Because it's enterprise level. Whoever is on the enterprise level is usually marketing manager or some high level persona. So they don't have time hanging out on a Facebook, but they definitely have time on LinkedIn because it's very professional. So I can assume that if it's enterprise and B2B, more likely you're gonna get more traffic and better promotion from LinkedIn ads, paid ads, or just generally speaking from the content being published on the LinkedIn. You'll get better traffic and better conversion. So it depends on the channel, but it depends on the understanding your audience and needs, right? So that kind of stuff, So this is why sometimes you see, like when you land on the page, you don't really have to bombard them with, with your content or like what's so different about you. Sometimes all you need is just a simple form, contact me, let's talk. Maybe we can, because enterprise level, maybe the price is completely different, or maybe it's a local business and it's the same day courier. You don't know what's the price, maybe it's depending on the mileage. So it's kind of businesses, that kind of understanding. It's the user first. It's not like, you can optimize everything quickly, but you have to understand how people interact, where they are, and how they will convert from each channel. But sometimes it's like you can tell, right? If it's e-commerce, think about e-commerce, and you're selling lingerie for ladies. Ladies will be buying lingerie usually when they, you can tell that because I've seen the data. For example, a friend of mine, he's got e-commerce, and he said the best conversion he gets is from the display ads, from the Wi-Fi connection. It means where the buyer persona is actually interacting with your website in probably some Wi-Fi, which is open Wi-Fi in the coffee place. And this is where the most sales coming from.
Yeah, kind of maybe they're in a local coffee gathering with girls, for example, and they get their mobile devices and start browsing the website. Yeah, very good.
So it's not about like, don't focus on the website, focus on the user, focus on the demographic, focus on, is it a man, is a buyer persona, is a man or is a lady? And what, like, it's a simple, like these are like a basics, right? In a classic marketing, but you have to get this right. And we've got so many tools these days, display ads will show you probably they have, I would say, one of the best like data. When you do the display ads, when you run a lot of display ads, I know it's it takes budget, right? But if you start from Facebook, for example, if you're B2C and you put your pixel then you can do the remarketing, but you can learn much more from your buyer persona. It's all about the data. So the more data you have, the more likely you can optimize frictions. And then once you've realized which channel does better conversion, then just go into that. But never don't evaluate only one channel, because you don't know how long it's going to be. So you have to look for the other opportunities all the time as well.
We have a question from our audience. Do you have any favorite tools for getting data about the audience?
Yeah, as I said, display ads. The display ads will tell you man and, let's say, the demographic man and woman. I know that it's very good for the demographics. It's, as I mentioned already, the kind of social listening tools.
Social listening tools. Can you mention any of them?
Keyhole. I've tried the Keyhole, Brand 24, Brand Watch, and all of these. They're very good. They will show you the sentiment analysis, which this is what I like. So, for example, if you want to get into affiliate, or maybe you're selling some specific products, let me show you some examples. Like I can.
Yes, you can share your screen. Yeah.
So let me show you. I can't actually show you the. Okay, I think I cannot show this one because it's too sensitive data. But what I can tell you is, okay, so display ads is one thing, because a lot of rich data you can get. And second, I would say social listening tools, because when you scan specific mentions, for example, you scanning healthy food, it's your niche, and maybe you want to go into affiliate. Or maybe you're scanning, as I said before, courier, which is just the local. You can select only mentions, let's say in the UK. So you want to see which courier company is getting the like very negative mentions. Okay. So this is like a very interesting data.
Okay, when you talk about the display ads, you're talking about Google Ads, social media ads, or any other specific tool on display network?
I would say display, any other, like all of them, they're very good. But yeah, Facebook is good for, as I said, B2C, but not only. But it all depends on your buyer persona. You have to first, in UX, what they do first is they have this, they do the meetings, and they talk about the buyer persona. So they just literally whiteboarding, they strategizing, and they say like, this is my ideal persona. And the persona is, probably hangs around, and LinkedIn is a kind of like decision maker, high-end company, enterprise, or maybe it's just a startup, or maybe it's just a same-day courier. So that way, I would first, I would do this. I would trying to get a data and trying to, let's say, imagine first, who's going to be my buyer persona first, So yes, as I said, so my reply would be display ads, all sort of, if you're on LinkedIn, you just LinkedIn. If you're on Facebook, that depends, if you, as I said, if you're B2B or B2C, go on Facebook. Quora is being very popular.
Yeah, totally agree with you.
Quora is like these days, it's shown has been very phenomenal. So it's something very different, So basically, what I'm trying to say is trying to something different. Like Quora is very interesting, a lot of rich data, quite interesting, and brings a lot of leads. They have been like if you just type in Quora case studies, you will find a lot of interesting case studies on how to not necessarily engage, but you have to. But it's not about like I answer my questions in 3 sentences. I've seen like really good examples where there was one question and suddenly you just have like 1,000 words reply, like so professional reply, and people upvote your reply, so you get upvote, and this is why it's always first, and that's how you're converting, because you can see the Quora is actually driving traffic like mad,
A lot of people are talking about Quora as one of the best channels for website promotion too, and we truly believe it is, because when this website actually has started, it was such a, I don't know, it was very boring actually.
Yeah.
Nobody accepted actually the format of replying questions of strangers and so on. But now it's kind of go-to source of information, and it's very, very trustworthy website. So yeah, it's a very good place for website promotion.
Let me show
what
you.
is-
Let me show you something in reality.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I used to deal with that kind of stuff. I mean, you. I know that you were kind of a little bit have. You said like, wow, financial services. And to be honest with you, I mean, financial services in SEO are very difficult, you know, so it's not a sexy subject. And if you're dealing with the finance, it's very boring and sensitive as well, because, you know, there is a lot of restrictions, what can be said, what can be promoted, and stuff like that. So you have to deal with that, you know. This is not B2C, so right? So it's very difficult, but let me show you an example.
That's why I said wow, because I know it's very difficult.
Can you see my screen right now?
Not at the moment.
Not for the moment, okay. This is my camera. My camera is supposed to be on.
You should see screen share.
Okay. 1 second, guys.
This will be really useful for our audience.
Yeah. I don't like.
Or maybe if you cannot share at the moment.
Hang on. I got it. Like sometimes it's right. I got it. Can you see me right now?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So let's do the Quora, right? The Quora.com. I use SEMrush for this, but I'm sure that you can use the SerpAsk for, you know, probably all the tools they do similar thing.
Yes.
But I just tend, like, I find out the Quora and I have this kind of tactic, right? So you just go and like you scan the website and you have to find the filters. So you go into like view full report.
Yeah.
Come on, loading. And then you can use the filters, like a filter by keyword and volume. So what I would like to do, you know, you put let's say the keyword. So let's say accountants, right? Let's say put an accountant, something realistic, you know, or maybe courier. Let's start with this courier, because we were talking about the courier today. Courier, right? So we got courier, and you just want to see a volume. You can like do that, but first let's just see what we have for courier. So what I would do first. So courier, you know, you would have to find where is the traffic. So I want to see which kind of questions like bringing the most of the traffic. So you can do it by the traffic percentage, and you can see which URL is driving the most of the traffic. So and when you can see the position as well. Like here is the courier. I want to see. Come on, show me the traffic. Does it? Yeah, I've pressed and. Oh, something is not working.
Maybe if you click on the volume. No.
Let's reload. So I see. I don't know, but yeah, it's basically what you really want to do. You want to see which specific threads on a Quora they're driving the most of the most of the traffic, and then you can put your ad over there, and then you can prepare your like 1,000 words reply to this thread. And that will be it. That will be it. I can't like, I don't know why it doesn't work, but let's say, I don't know, courier doesn't seem to be like, I know that, let's say bookkeepers, I've tried with bookkeepers as well. There's these bookkeepers. Just don't like, I don't know, I've got really bad examples today. Don't know, not sure. Loans. Okay, let's see loans.
Whoa, we will have
okay.
Many keywords here, yes.
Right, okay, let's see this. I mean, if that doesn't work, then I'm just unlucky. Okay, now, well, look at this, you know, I can't see the track. Usually there's like a percentage, it shows you the percentage, like a 2% or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, maybe there's like a bug or something like that, but usually it shows you which ones are on which position. But usually you don't really want to see the position, you want to see the traffic. So let's say this keyword is attracting this URL, and there is a question, and this is where you should go, and you see like, and then you can see the keyword difficult, but it's not about that. It's just about the traffic. So what you do, you're exporting that, let's say, to your client, and you see like, here's the engagement, and then you just select the green URLs and see like, here is, let's say, 1,000 volume and the traffic for this URL from specific, for Quora for the specific thread is this. We should prepare a really detailed answer. And on top of that, you just want to add, make ads. So, you just pay for it.
And the most, I think, one of the most important things we should say here is that we can do this for any website we're interested in. And we can find a way how to place our content, our presence there of our website and brand.
Yeah, I think the problem is that I just selected UK, and I think if I could go to
USA, for example, you will find
USA exactly, because you selected UK, and UK is going to be very specific. But I think for lawns, I would say I would like to see much more traffic. I don't know, it's probably some sort of bug, or maybe I just doing something different. But I've been doing this for quite a long time, and it's very interesting that these kind of threads, when it can become an asset to you. So when you leave that, right? Let's say you put not one. Don't do that, because I've done this with one client, and people are very they need to have much more courage to do that. You can't just prepare 10 replies for 10 threads and just expect sales, right? It has to be 80-20. Put like a 50 answers. You have to really invest heavily into that, and then apply the 80-20 rule and see like, okay, these are the threads. There is a long tail. These are the there's a traffic. It's great, but it's not great for conversion. But some of the threads will be bringing a lot of signups and conversions and stuff like that, right? So, or maybe it will be for the brand touch or anything else. So don't expect that every single one is going to be effective, and don't do just 10. You have to do, you have to have a strategy for the next 6 months or 12 months. And let's say once per week, you need to be, systematically, doing it. As far as I know one startup, and that has grown using only Quora. And what they've done is they've hired only one person full-time for Quora. Can you imagine?
Whoa.
So
yes.
it's a sign how effective is one channel. Can you imagine you have one person like dealing 7 hours per day with Quora, and is like replying?
You mentioned something really interesting, actually. By the way, thank you for sharing your secret with us. It was really, really useful. Let's go to one of the questions related to one of the words you just mentioned. It's the systematically promotional plan. How do you think the promotion plan is important today? Because we have seen many times that people are neglecting it. They would say, for example, no, I don't think this is important to be documented or something like that. Do you think that the website promotion plan should be documented, and why?
The website plan, you're saying?
Website promotion plan.
Yeah, website promotion plan. Okay, first of all, because one thing, once you have everything in place, you actually protect your plan. So that's one thing, okay? You stay on the right track. It's very easy to fall, right? Because there's so many ideas. But you have only, let's say, 12 months, which is not enough. It's only 12 months to, let's say, implement 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 channels and then test them, or maybe 6, right? And you have to be very quick sometimes. So, and you have to have enough data, right? Because you just can't just stop it. Oh, that doesn't work. Oh, but we just got 100 hits from, that didn't work. It needs to be enough data. It needs to be statistically significant. So one case what we're doing for the financial services were A/B testing. So we were, put a lot of money on Google Ads, and we're sending traffic to A, and what was B. But we couldn't decide until we had enough traffic, enough data. But bear in mind that one click for us was £50 per click. So we had to spend quite a lot of money first to get that data.
Yeah.
So, this is the thing that, one, you need to have that plan, because you know what you're testing, you know what you're promoting, you are on the track, and you're testing properly. So you just you don't go from one to the other. You have to make sure that you stay. And plus, once you have that, you can do the audit, like social media audits. You can see exactly how does this work, and then that's a real data. I mean, I know it's like, oh, let's fly from here to another, like let's try this, let's try that. It's a lot of people do that. They think, oh, this did work, but it did work because it was maybe because of what? Maybe because it was some sort of hype for this month. Maybe it was something in the news, which is why you should use the social listening tools, because they will tell you. They have. Okay, let me log in. I'll show you. Right. So let me log in quickly. Let me share the screen so you can see the really interesting data, because people are talking about the data, how to get the data. So share again. This is what I'm talking about. Let's say you want to see social mentions, right? From, I don't know, there's the many tools like that. I tend to use Brand24 for some reasons. So if I just log in, and if I see the spikes, let's say about Brexit, for example, because it's like hilarious. I like Brexit because, or Donald Trump, or anything like that. So let's say what we've got here, Pepsi is good, Brexit. Let's go to the Brexit, right? So Brexit is really good, I'll tell you why. First of all, it's funny because you can search only for negative ones, and people talking like so much bad words about Brexit. So you can search for the biggest hater, and then you can see which one has got the biggest influence and why. So you just filtering down, and then you want to see if there are any spikes, and if there are any spikes, you see, then you can connect that event in Google Analytics. Let's say here, right? June. Look at the social media reach was 27 million. Well,
yes.
what we got here is only 5 million. So 27 and 5 is a big difference, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So it's a big spike. So you should actually click here and analyze, and then you want to look at which channel is bringing the most of the traffic, whether it's a web, not so much. So we're talking about last 30 days. What we have here, forum, not so much, but the Twitter, it's like, okay, we've just don't forget, we only filtering down the most negative ones, which has the biggest influence score. So we've got 4,000 tweets about it. So the Twitter appears to be the one that is the most engaging. So maybe if you are in politics, maybe you should use a Twitter. Or maybe if you are in, I don't know, health industry, or maybe you're selling some healthy or stuff, maybe it will be Instagram, but it will show you here the biggest mentions. And what you can do, which there's a sentiment analysis. So let's go to this comparison here, which is very interesting. And this is what I was talking about. You can see the negative ones. And once you got negative ones, and you can you have to be very careful with that, right? But if you see negative mentions, let's say some people talking about your competitor, and you can join to this conversation, but I would use I would use your influencers rather than replying to this thread from your company, because it doesn't look okay. Here is the examples. Look, this is exactly reflection, the negativity. There's a lot of mentions are quite negative, right?
Very useful, yeah.
Very useful, and you can see that Twitter is here. You can see the negative, you can see the positive. Then you can go back and you can search the mentions. For example, here's a really good example. This guy, this is the courier one, which I were talking about. Look how smart they've used they've connected Brand24 with the courier business. For example, it could be any other startup. Let's say SerpAsk or SEMrush or anything like that, but you're saying that it's only for courier businesses. It resonates only and only with the courier industry, and this is really good. Just show them that this is what is happening about the negativity. This is so good. Let me read that. I had to rearrange delivery of mine for tomorrow because a stupid fucking courier couldn't be bothered to find my house today. They're talking about daily life. So what you can do, people actually, when people complaining, once you have, let's say your mate, or for example, what I've done here, I've got I said a silver bullet. For example, the people are hating here as one of the biggest company, a City Sprint, right? What you can do is just go into that and say, hey, try independent courier services, and Chris does nationwide delivery 800, and you just put a number, had same issues with City Print and so on, so you can do that way, but it's very dangerous. So you can be very diligent, or diplomatic, I would say, when you do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So in other words, you would like, let's summarize. You would like to say that the the promotion plan for a website is important to be documented, and to just to be organized in a structured way. So we have everything at one place, and we can follow it step by step. And of course, we can place the results there, so we can make the conclusions and make the decisions after a period of time what we should do for in the future, of course. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the website promotion tactics. Which top three successful tactics? Which are the top three successful tactics in 2019? In your opinion, what do you think works the best?
Okay, so first of all, it's we were talking about this defining audience first.
Yes.
But once you've got that, what I would say is offline marketing still works. So don't just neglect that. When we're talking about the promotion, website promotion.
Really, yes, the offline marketing works. A lot of people started talking about it's totally unsuccessful.
I've got my biggest client ever through the offline marketing. And,
wow.
Yeah. And I did quite a lot of international presentations, and the guy just saw me. It was offline. He saw everything I had, the way how I talk, what kind of services I do, how I do this. And he said, we've got a budget, we've got everything. And he was quite a big client. And all he did just gave me the card and just contact me. And I just realized that networking and presentations, which is, I consider this, I could classify this as a, ultra specific events, because it was ultra, so it was about SEO. You are gaining ultra specific people, ultra specific decision makers. And these decision makers, they don't have much time. So once they see you, they will give you the one chance, and you'll take it. So the networking, things like this, they don't happen that much often, but when you do that kind of stuff, it works. Also, there will be another, which is very interesting one. I do the webinars, right, in Poland as well, for SEMrush one. And I've invited quite a lot of SEO guys, right? And one of them gave me a lead, and that lead became a very good client. So it's offline marketing, you would say, because it's a webinar. You would say it's either offline, or you would say it's still digital. You really, like, I don't know how to classify this. For me, it could be kind of offline, still digital. It's still digital, but I mean, the content, like even when you do the presentation, becomes your asset, because when people are recording that on a YouTube, you can share it, then, there's more about you. So I'm just saying that in reality, that's how I got it. So that works, like this kind of networking stuff, this kind of presentations. And you have to be very specific, because if you're not specific, what you do, you fall into this one trap. But if you're an agency, for example, like I don't know what kind of audience we have today, but let's say if you're selling lingerie only for ladies, you are very specific. But if you're agency, marketing agency, it's very broad. You can do conversion, you can do social mentioning, you can do analysis, you can do website building, you can do SEO, you can do backlinks. That's too much, too many services. You basically, what you do, you salami yourself, because people will be trying to get, I need only one service on that one service. So sometimes it's better to have one package, which is fitted to the relevant client. All clients are a bit different, so you have to be, very kind of elastic about that as well. But when you have startups are quite clear about the pricing. When you see pricing, is like, that's how you have SerpAsk, it works like this. This is what you get in this price. This is the price. This is the fair price. That's it. And there's no questions about it. But it's ultra specific. It is same thing like you would be on a Facebook social groups, but the closed ones. I've also got very interesting question quite recently. Someone asked me about high-profile personal. I was quite surprised that kind of high-profile person is actually hanging around on a Facebook group, which is closed one. And he has asked me, can you deliver that for me? Because I know you've done that. And it's very outstanding, because I had to check what kind of person is that. And he appears to be as a managing director of one of the biggest companies. So, like, you think about it, that some random events, but the random events can bring you unusual stuff. And, so that's attached. And then he just asked me to do one thing, but you can then do upsell and stuff like that. And you have already relationships. So it's exclusive clients, that way. And you wouldn't think that way, right? You just think like just to get a client, you think about the growth, but all that depends if you're very specific. So that's why I'm saying, everything becomes an asset, like YouTube, webinars. The more you're interacting with people on the Facebook, that guy found me because I've made a thread about something. Someone, how can you get, let's say, I think it was how to get links from this source or from that source, and I've replied. And after 6 months, he found me. So like how specific is this? Like these kind of very unusual growth hacks. So that's why I would say that the more specific you are, the more unusual, and the more sometimes manual. The more you, like as I say, with the Quora, that works because it becomes your asset. The many threads that you reply. Then you see after a year. I remember I checked one client after a year, and the traffic through every specific thread is still coming. So you can see the Quora on the Google Analytics over 1 year.
One of the questions here that we very often discuss here in Bulgaria when we talk about marketing and website promotion tactics is more paid or more organic promotion, or a mix of both of them. What do you think? Which is are there any successful formula or magic formula, for example? Something you can say.
Well, that's a quite broad questions because, okay, if you are a B2C or if you're a startup and you're a technology startup, like you're trying to break into the market and there's no demand for it, no one's going to know like about you. So there won't be any searches, right? That's normal. If you are like, imagine that you're Spotify 10 years ago and Spotify did something completely new. So people were not searching how to listen music differently because they didn't even know what to type in the Google, right? Like you couldn't find it. So the Google is more likely for the services and for the products that people are aware. So that's the first question. So it's not something like invention. It's something that services actually, like lawyers, couriers, and startups, and social media, like whatever. Like SEO is, it's not new market. It's been for a good 20 years right now, right? So you have to differentiate your product, and whatever it's like it's the first movement, or you're very like on the beginning of that. But if you know what people are actually searching, there is a data, like there's a keyword search for stuff like that, yeah, AdWords will work. So AdWords will they'll give you the traction. But as I said, if you're a startup trying to break into a new market and that does not exist, you need to create demand for it. So AdWords won't work, right? So that would be my takeaway for that. Just the first, make sure that you specify wherever there is demand and how people search for it. Because I was in this kind of situation, and it's very difficult to promote a startup. There is no searches for it, but SEO is more likely for the services that do exist. So AdWords will work if it's competitive. If people are let's say, there are searches about your brand and your competitor. That's a lot. That means people have to understand they understand the area, they understand the industry, they understand the competitors as well. So yes, that will work definitely. And all that depends on as well on the industry, because if you are in pharmacy or like pharmaceutical translations, which I've done it, that is all depends. So the very, very lucrative businesses, but people don't work through the AdWords, not that way.
Yeah, so it depends on the niche and the business.
Exactly. More if it's more enterprise, if it's more high, if it's more high ticket client, AdWords less, they tend to less work. But also they're very competitive. Let's say insurance or gaming, there is 80 quid or pounds per click. So depending on your budget, and if you are in this industry, I think you just have to do it just to, I would say, just to keep your presence over there, just for the sake of, and then you're gonna have that budget. So it's not gonna be better than it was, because it's kind of like it's becoming overused, although Google is trying to push Google Ads more and more. But when you look at the data, and there's a lot of searches going on, and SEO, it doesn't go away very soon. So I would think about that as well.
Yeah. And what do you think about the other successful formats we have seen recently, like interviews, like podcasts? People are talking now. What about guest posting? We already very good understood that the offline marketing is working very well. But what do you think about this content types of content of promotion?
So like the podcasts, either video podcast or the normal podcasts, like the ones that you can just listen them.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell that, right? There's more and more of those, so they do work, and there's no. I think it's just another channel, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you have to, like, I would say, if you're diving into that and it works, then you have to test it. Like, you can't just say like, oh, I've done one successful podcast and it did work, and the other one did not work, right? So I would say be consistent with that, because they definitely do drive traffic. I think I would say every single channel is great as long as you know how to use it. Like some people, they're still using email marketing, the blast, because they have their own list.
Absolutely.
And it still works for them, whatever people are saying, but the email marketing works, and it's been like 25 years right now. So it's all about the volume as well. But you see, you can't judge that way, but it definitely works. What I would say, what I've done is I've done the Anton Schulke interview, and it's on my fairly new website. It's been maybe 6 months right now, and so I'm trying to like get some interviews with a high profile people from SEO, and that seemed to work. And I'll tell you why that seemed to work. Let me share the screen quickly. And so you will see that this in action. So 1 second. So I'm here. Let me share the screen. Share the screen. And here's interesting what I've realized. If you're very specific, you just go to, let's say, this is the post. And what I said to Anton, I said, Anton, when you do it's already very interesting, because you're talking about your life, you're talking about your predictions, you're talking about your biggest fails in the industry, right? And you're talking about, I did ask him, there's one question that is missing, people to follow. And once you have the big names, you can connect them via Twitter. And people love it, because when you mention them, people love it, and they retweet, they retweet the content. So look how many names, quite big names he mentioned here. So look how many times you can just tweet about something, and you can say, hey, this is exclusive interview with, about predictability, about this and that, and then you, including mentions from, and then you say, let's say, Ross Tavendale, or, Joel Bondarovsky, and Mike Sadowski here, and so on, right? That is a very growth hack to do that, right? When you do interviews. So that's what I've just realized, and it did work. I know, like yesterday, Anton just, sent me on Facebook, and he said, like, hey, listen. And he said, yeah, what's going on? Aleida, she tweeted about it. This is already a big achievement, right? Because, he really admire Aleida, Anton, personally. So it's very nice, that you can actually connect with someone offline, but you promote your content and him and yourself through the interviews. And everyone is kind of winning here, right? The people to follow, they are being mentioned, which is nice. Anton is getting something, I got something, but you see, it's about brand that way. It's a brand touch, people see, oh, so this little guy, he's doing some interviews, right? Okay, who is he? And so on. And so that way you can get some sort of international presence. I was like, that's just my takeaway for so many of them.
Okay, in the last minutes of our webinar, we have a fun part, and we have a question about the most appropriate alt tag for the following image. I will share it now for you. And I hope you start with first smiling, because it's really funny. It's something I found on your Facebook profile. Let me know. What is the best alt tag for you, in your opinion?
I need to ask for the permission. You are signed as request access. So let me send a request.
You should open it right now. It's public.
I cannot open this, the one that you sent me on the drive. It's on the drive. You sent me something on the drive.
You should be able to see it right now.
Okay, you can screen share it.
Oh, yes. Why not? Let me share my screen.
Are you screen sharing?
Yeah, can you see it?
Yeah, it's my picture. Yeah, what about it?
What is the most appropriate alt tag you can put here?
The most appropriate
alt tag.
The tag. I think it would be pink trousers. The pink trousers were like very famous. I know a lot of friends specifically saying Craig Campbell and Andy Drinkwater, they were laughing about my trousers. I did a presentation for SEMrush in Prague, and I was wearing them, and they said, like, mate, you've got to change your outfit, you've got to change, you need to come up with something like, because this is not decent, how on earth did you just wear your pink trousers? But a lot of people, they just did like it, they just say, oh, it's something, it's a growth hack, it's a different, right? So
okay,
you have to try this.
Where are you actually here on the photo?
I'm on the very left.
Yes. No. Where are you? I mean, which country?
Oh, that's in London. That's in London. Yeah, you can actually see in the very far in the background.
Oh yeah. And it's a walk or a party. What is
it? It's a park. I think it's in Camden Town Park. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're just there for a walk?
Yeah, just having fun with friends. I don't know what we were doing. We're just making crazy photos, and we're trying to get some. Like, hey, let's do some crazy stuff. Let's see how many likes we can get. Obviously, it wasn't that successful as we thought.
Yeah.
So I've got actually something before I go, if I can. I just wanted to, because I remember it's already prepared for me. I just wanted to say that there's one, like when you do outreach tactic, right? Like here is the example of a quite successful a guest post I did for Plannable. And I did ask, once it's been published, right? I spoke with Luciana and say I didn't close that, right? I say, I just like thanks for the guest post, but I went further and I said, based on what you have seen on my writing skills, do you know anyone else who would be interested about that? Right? And guess that, like every time I do this, I did ask them people what they do. They referring me. And so I don't have to do any outreach anymore. And listen, this is so great. Like, look, you can see. She gave me actually the entire SaaS list that accept guest posting. This is brilliant. Can you imagine, like, this is how great is that? What I've done with them, I'm going to now do the interview with the founder of the Plannable. I'm going to publish that. So again, my interview section on my blog is going to be, useful again. So you see how you're connecting people offline and online, offline and so on and so on. But you actually make a relationship with them through the guest post, and it's working. So don't tell me that doesn't work. But if you're very specific in your niche and people actually know you and you have something to say, then most likely you have a really valuable stuff to be published. But if you're in the fashion industry and you're building backlinks for someone that you know nothing about it, I don't think how can you talk about, let's say, sustainability in fashion industry, which is very specific stuff. So being very generic, I don't think people will take you seriously, because a lot of these kind of good pages, what they want to see your social media profiles. And when you do outreach and you don't have the social media profiles, you don't appear trustworthy. These are my three things that I wanted to say before I go. Trustworthy and authenticity. And I think there was something else, but at least these two words. They will never go out of the fashion.
Yeah, so these are your final words and your final advice to our audience.
Yeah, because if you're authentic, you resonate with whatever audience you have. If you do, as I said, lingerie for ladies, if you know the stuff, if you know what they don't like to wear, which you can check through the sentiment analysis, which I've mentioned before, or you can use a Quora that will tell you what are the problems. And you can better know your audience. So I think the more you learn about your audience, the more likely you're going to be successful. But if you're very generic, there's no successful being generic. I haven't heard that someone has been successful in the SEO industry being very generic.
Okay, so thank you everybody for being with us today, and thank you to our team for their great work during this webinar. Thanks to our sponsor, SerpAsk, for realizing these webinars. We will be expecting you next month, and we very soon will announce our next guest. Meanwhile, don't forget to follow us on YouTube, where you can find a lot of useful knowledge and information in our SerpAsk series. Thank you so much, Milosz, for being with us and for
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Sharing your amazing knowledge and tips. It was actually very practical, which is something we really admire and we very highly appreciate. So thank you again, and we will see you all next time.
See you.